Today on Expert Showcase, we're going behind the episode with Harry Johal of Singapore, talking about selling amongst the best sellers, 3 things you need to know.
And welcome to Behind the Episode. As you can see above me, we have our latest awesome guest, Mark. I'm back to awesome. I'm going to start using epic because everybody
We're going to have to get you another word. Yes, exactly.
Epic. I'll say epic.
The epic episode.
It's the new buzzword. Epic is the new buzzword. So we have our great guest, Harry Johal, all the way, as Mark said, from Singapore. And over there, Mark, 4 in a row, baby. This is, it's
You're pointing in the right direction.
4 for 4. If you don't know that joke, watch the rest of the episode. So we've got a great, our expert interviewer, Dr. Mark Kosman. So to save me from myself, Mark, why don't you take it away and let's get started with Behind the Episode.
So, Harry, let me tell you how Behind the Episode works here. You and I are going to have a little conversation about who you are and what your background is that leads up to the episode that we created. While we're having our talk, Chris is going to be taking some notes that our audience can watch on screen and see what he is, highlighting as we're talking. Then we're going to flip it over to Chris, who's going to kind of use his notes and what he's been listening to kind of pull things together a little bit, be the coach and consultant for our conversation. A lot of the focus is to help our audience, who are coaches and consultants who are looking for ideas and strategies about how they can better be positioning themselves and marketing their businesses. So that's kind of the behind-the-scenes look, and we're using you as an example. I can't say that, an example, to sort of look as a role model. So let's talk a little bit about how you got here. I'm sure you did not immediately begin by being a radio talk show host. So give me a little backstory, Harry. How did you come to be the expert that you are now?
Well, so basically, from my childhood, I have been a talker. You see, I've been always told by my parents that, I talk a lot. But, it's a self-expression that if something is there, that you can really, convey to somebody, you should really talk about it. And then I was into performing arts. So basically, I had done a lot of theater. I've been, I've even done a couple of movies also and some TV series as well. So gradually from there, the next progression was that I wanted to, do something where I can combine my performing skills and skills that I have been, blessed by God, the communication skills. So I brought them together, and initially I launched my own radio station, web radio station, back home from India because I was born in India, and I launched a trademark by the name Balle Balle Radio. So it was the first web radio station which started from India, and probably initially I started hosting, shows related to music where I'm introducing, songs and what is the history behind making of the songs. And from there, a point came in my life where I thought that, there will be more things that I can explore about my own personality. So then the idea of, getting in touch with celebrities from Bollywood and, UK music industry came to me, who are, producing Asian music. So initially I was introduced, since I was into media already, I have been, associated with some print media, I've been associated with some other sorts of media as well. So getting the celebrities was not a very difficult job for me. So I invited them on my show, and I started introducing them on my show, and so Balle Balle Radio became like my own personality of expression. That's the way, sir, I basically started, and then I launched my oon brand of talk show called Carry On Time.
Now, how did I don't think I missed anything there. I don't think you said. How did you end up going from India to Singapore, though? How did you land there?
Well, sir, this internet has given me lots and lots of things. It has given me, my recognition is one thing. It has also introduced me to my soulmate, my wife, who was born and brought up in Singapore. In fact, I had a very large audience. So her sister actually used to listen to my shows, which were related to music. So then there was some email exchanges that that he asked me whether I'm married or not, and then the things went from there. And slowly I was introduced to my wife, and then internet came in the form of, that time Yahoo chat rooms were very popular. So we interacted a little bit on that one, and then slowly, within 6 months I got married to my wife, and then later on, I got settled in Singapore, and it's just like a fairy tale. You can say that two people who were strangers at one time, one doing talk shows and another one just a listener, and they met on internet, and through internet, it just like it happened that way.
So love brought you to Singapore. So here's what's interesting, Harry. So people are going to hear they're going to watch the episode that we shot just a few minutes ago in just a couple of minutes. We're going to show it to them, but here's what's interesting. So you launched your show, you created awareness, you expanded to a new market in Singapore, and you fetched a better deal. So people will understand better these 3 points in a couple of minutes when they watch the episode. It just turned out that the better deal was a wife, and the new market was Singapore, and the awareness came through being the host of your show. So that's fabulous. A great story.
Correct, sir. It went that way, yes.
Absolutely. That's great. So you're basically through the internet. I mean, the boundaries don't much matter in terms of nations as you travel around. Now, it's interesting. A lot of the guests we talk to are very kind of hyper-focused on a niche. You're going with a very broad perspective. Tell me a little bit about your thought process as you have developed your show. You're not picking a single category. You're not just doing an author talk show. You're not just doing a musician talk show. You're kind of bringing in all different voices from all different walks of life. So how did that evolve as the way that you're promoting your show?
You see, there's it's also related to my own personality, sir, because you see, if I keep on doing same thing for a very long time, I think I lose my creative touch. I'm a sort of a person who believes in learning new things from people. Like I'm talking to you, I'm talking to Chris or anybody, on my shows as well. There are lots of things which I can learn from you. So in search of that quest for learning new things, I try to meet new people. Not just on my shows itself. If I found somebody interesting, on the roadside also, and I will try to communicate with the person, get to know what he is doing, what sort of person he is. So there's a lot of learning. So this curiosity of learning things, has always made me think beyond, my own capacities. I don't want to sound like an expert, because there's a lot of things to learn even from kids. That's the basic mentality or the thought process, that goes into my mind. I want to keep my head like a funnel, which is open. It's pouring in. The knowledge is pouring in. Personalities are pouring in. A lot of things to learn, and that is the basic personality trait I have.
I understand completely, what's fascinating about that is that obviously you have managed to attract an audience of listeners who are very similar in personality to yours, because obviously they wouldn't be listening unless they were enjoying all these different perspectives and all these different learnings that you're having through the show. So you're enjoying it, but obviously you're attracting people who are like-minded and like personality, and quite a few of them, it sounds like.
Absolutely fine. It's like that. So, for example, if we just talk about one particular category which I pick, let's say authors. After a point of time, after doing let's say 100 show, 1,000 show, there's a point where all my questions will begin to sound like the same thing.
Right.
when you will be highlighting a problem to me about that how you managed to sell your books after a struggle of 5 years. So the curiosity which comes to my mind is why this person took 5 years. What was it that this book today is considered as a bestseller, but at that point of time, this book got rejected for 5 years by 10 different publishers. So why should I not ask a publisher itself what were the things why this book got rejected? So there's a learning element for the audience, for the new authors. There's a learning element for me also. Let's say if tomorrow a new author comes to me on my show and describes me this problem, at least I have got a new perspective. I got a new viewpoint to exchange it with that particular author, that maybe this thing happened, maybe that thing happened, based on what I listened from this established publisher, and it will be a helping thing for that particular author also for his next book.
Sure.
It will be a helping thing for the audience also, who will be who are willing to write those kind of product or willing to introduce those kind. So the talk show is not just one dimensional. It's just like we are creating a community where people are helping each other, and my success is not my success. today by God's grace and by the help of my guests, I have been able to get a very substantial, market share, and it's all because everyone has shared their success. When Mr. Chris came on my show to discuss about his book Zero Point, I learned a lot of things from him. I learned, not just about his product, about his personality, and from there, it also went into the mind of the audience also that we are not just talking about the 0 point. We are also talking about what sort of, ups and downs Mr. Chris, came across and how we can find solution from, this kind of a thing. So I'm a solution provider in those ways.
That's wonderful. No, it's like you're the hub of the wheel essentially, and people pass through the hub to connect with each other on different sides of the wheel. So it's a wonderful thing you're doing. Well, I'm enjoying our conversation, but I also know that we can't talk forever. Otherwise, I don't know, we'll burn out the internet or something like that. We don't want to break the internet. So let me turn this over to Chris, who has been diligently taking notes. I have no idea what he's been taking notes about, but you guys already know each other, so let me reintroduce you to each other. Chris, this is this is the guy that you've been talking to. So so say hi to Harry. Harry, Chris, take it away.
Oh, okay, this is time I save you from yourself, Mark. Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, exactly.
No, you're saving the internet, Chris. You got to think bigger. I mean, your role here is massive. You're preventing me from breaking the internet.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, great episode for those of you who've made it this far, which if you're listening to my voice, you have. You definitely want to stick around to the end of this, so you're going to see Harry's episode, and it's going to give you a lot of great value, especially to understand whether you're an author, whether you're a coach, whether you're a speaker, on how to create awareness, how to expand into new markets, and how to fetch a better deal, because for coaches and consultants, that's just as important as it is for authors and speakers and people with a large message to share. The other thing I find is very interesting, Harry, is and I was reading, and I really wish I could remember. I'm looking away because I'm trying to think. There was an article I just read real recently about kingmakers and about people who decide, rather than being king, that they want to be a kingmaker. So in other words, they've made this decision that they would rather lift everybody else up, and I'll say almost take a back seat and let other people be the king, so to speak. And I really look at what you're doing in that same light, because you're being the connector, you're bringing people on, you're teaching the audience. But ever since I've met you, your main goal is, how can I help you, and what can I do to help put your message forward, and what can I do to support you, and what can I do to support the next guest, and how can I support my guests. The interesting part is you're living proof of, if you help people get what they want, they will help you get what you want, because you met your current wife based on the fact that you were just out helping people on your show, and one of her listeners said, her sister basically started corresponding, found out you were single, and you guys met. So Mark, there's hope for me yet.
There's hope for you, Chris. Ladies, meet Chris.
Yeah, there's hope. So I think it's it's great. I also once again, I got to point out, and if you listen to other episodes, I point this out. It seems like today we've had a lot of these, but there's a common thread through Harry's background. Of being the talker and going into performing arts and theater. And I tell you something, Mark, when I say, I can't even use the word humbled, because I know the minute you say you're humbled, you really aren't humbled. But I'm getting amazed at the guests come on who just throw things out of the blue at us.
This is our first movie star, on the show.
Actually, it's our second, because we interviewed one earlier today who said that he had done some feature film work. So I was going to say, we've got feature film, we've got television. We had neuroscientists on, we had physicists, we had Russian physicists on,
nuclear physicists.
We had Who Wants to Be a Millionaire winners. It's it's been amazing. And now Dev with this long story, or now Dev earlier today, and now Harry with this long story of going from. And it's funny, Harry, I can really identify, as you can tell, with the talker. That's what everybody told me when I was a kid. You talk too much. So anyway, back to what's important here is the fact it's great that you found that common thread throughout your life, and now you're using it to help people. And I love and I admire you for the fact that you brought up a radio station in India and brought up the first station and found it easy to get guests because you're such a good and likable a good and likable person. You're a likable authority. Folks, one of the things we talk about a lot is visibility, credibility, and authority. If you're not a likable authority, you can be an authority in a lot of things, but you're not going to get a lot of business. Harry's living proof that when you become a likable authority, and when you are a likable authority, that's when you attract and that's when you can make your business easy. So, once again, congratulations on that, Harry. And I do have a question for you. You do radio. I know you've got, your website is awesome. There's so much content on there. From a video standpoint, tell me and tell our viewers what do you do right now from a video marketing standpoint or from a video content creation standpoint?
Well, sir, there's a lot of demand for video. I know about it. Good thing about video is that when we are introducing, our guests through video to a market like on YouTube or social media, they come to know about the body language, this unspoken language, which people can read. So once, if we introduce, the talk shows on video itself, it really expands into the market. The person, what you just now mentioned, is a likable person. I think it will become lovable also by that way.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. My question, I guess, goes a little bit deeper, and forgive me if I've missed this or if you've answered it. But for you, for the talk show, let's say for the talk show or for your message, what type of video marketing or what type of video content do you create currently to help either promote the show or promote your message?
Correct. I will be, taking a clip from my talk show, and like there's something which has been, which is something very messageful, or which is something, which can really, attract my audience to come to my website, carryonharry.com, to listen to that show. So I will be just putting up the clip, converting it to a video format with a caption, like where the show is available, how to, log into the show. So the information will be displayed on the video itself. And probably sometimes I also shoot a small video about myself where I'm introducing that, in a most recent episode done with Mr. Chris, we spoke about a very wonderful book, 0 Point, and you can hear a small clipping that I'm going to play for you all guys. So that clip will introduce the book, the guest, and platforms like YouTube and all these already have a market. So they will come to know about who is the guest and where can this show be heard. So they'll be flocking onto my website. So in a way, the marketing of my shows is done in that way through the social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. So it's just multiple platforms there. So different things are used to market the video, and this is the way I create my videos.
Yeah, that's excellent. So what I think you're saying is, when you've got a guest on, in a lot of cases, what you'll do is to promote the episode, you create a quick video, distribute that video out to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and other social media channels as a piece of promotional material to get them to come back and listen to the audio episode, right?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. I know you do a lot of work to get guests through Radio Guest List and some other outlets to get guests, and I know you probably have a backlog of guests. But have you ever thought of creating video content and using that to as a way to get guests? Like, in other words, to create some content about your show, to create content so that when people see it, other than what we're doing here, because obviously you've thought about it because you're here, but other than this, have you thought of any ways that you could use video content to promote your show in a way to get guests to the show?
I have not attempted so far, producing more videos, on a professional standard, because my shows have been growing more on word of mouth, because I believe in, winning the heart of my audience so that they go and tell to their friends and relatives, and they, go to the social media to write about it and get, let them know that what Harry has done on his show and what the guest has spoken. Yes, video does make a difference, and probably in near future I will definitely, love to expand my talk shows from audio into the video format, and putting up the entire episode maybe on the social media platforms. I have plans, but I haven't implemented yet.
See, here's the interesting thing, Mark, and that's a great answer, Harry. So, I'm going to kind of digress from our roles as video content people. What's beautiful to see from Harry's standpoint, Mark, is the fact that he's successful, and he's filling his pipeline, and he's doing it his own way. And it in one sense, at this point, he doesn't need video because he's been successful in building his business. The interesting thing, that's kind of, it may sound strange coming from a video person, but here's why I say that, and this is for everybody watching, especially you in the tan chair and the black chair. You too, I think, really need to hear this. If you're successful, if you're ultra successful, and you have a client pipeline a mile long, and you don't have any room in your business for new clients, and your backlog is 10 years long, then great. You don't need video, you don't need us, and you just watch this, have a nice day, and we'll part as friends. However, if you're a mild to moderately successful coach or consultant, and your pipeline isn't full, and your backlog isn't great, then you definitely need video. Because video, you start with video and you expand, and it allows you to produce every other medium. So we have somebody here who's been able to make it a success in a different way. And if you are like Harry and able to make it a success in a different way, more power to you. I applaud you. It's a great thing. If you're not, if you're watching this and once again you're mild to moderately successful, then you need to look at doing video, because video ends up being the most powerful way to build, your client platform. With that being said, Mark, I'm going to turn it. I think at this point, I'm kind of, I'm kind of on empty on the thoughts and the questions. So save me from myself before I babble.
I will save you from yourself. Well, Harry, it sounds like I've not listened to your show. I'm going to have to start listening to your show because it sounds like I would get a lot out of it. I also like lots of different voices. I'm a person who is hungry for lots of different topics, so it sounds like it would be a lot of fun. I'll tell you the funny thing, though, Harry, is that as Chris was saying earlier, even though our goal is to be fairly focused in our audience and in the kinds of guests that we are offering, what we end up discovering is that there are broad topics and things that come out anyway. So it's kind of fascinating to see that it just happens anyway, because people are interesting, and I think we all share that common love of talking to people, learning from people, meeting new and interesting and different people. But it sounds like you've been doing it for quite a long time and have quite a network of people who then want to cross-reference through the hub of the wheel that I was talking about before. So it sounds great.
And so one more thing, that I would love to add here, I believe in shared success. I don't want to sound like an expert, somebody who is an authority and knowing everything. As I told you, that even a kid can, make you learn something. And
absolutely.
Let's say, and shared success in this way, if my talk show, like a lot of Hollywood celebrities and Grammy Award winners have also been on my shows, and a lot of, cinema celebrities from Asian cinema, Bollywood, which is one of the most popular format of cinema, is growing worldwide, so when these people come and, they bring a lot of fan following with them, and, this fan following is also curious to learn about some new markets, some new things in their life. Maybe they a film goer may be introduced to reading a new book which he just heard over the show. He will try to buy that book. So I believe in shared success. So the bigger celebrity comes, a new person gets a fan following, and his success is shared. So I believe in shared success. I don't believe in just being my own self successful, and that is I work from my heart. Like they say that Asians have a belief mentality. My belief is that I can learn something good from you. My belief is that I can produce something good for my audience, and that's the way I have been doing the thing. So it's more about my love for my audience, that I want to give them something. If they are taking out a precious time out of their life, they can spend it on Facebook or with their loved one also, but they should get something in return which is more productive and valued for them in near future.
No, that's excellent, Harry. And obviously, they're voting with their ears, and they are saying that you're doing that well because they're listening and they're participating and they're connecting with you. So that's fabulous. Well, Harry, it's been great having you on Expert Showcase. It's been great having you behind the episode here. We're about to show people your episode here through our blog site here, and people will definitely want to stay tuned and learn about how using the platform that you have created for them would allow them to sell amongst the best sellers, and the three things they're going to learn about in just a second about creating awareness, expanding to a new market through the Asian, Southeast Asian connection that you're offering people. And who knows, they might not only just make a better deal, they might come away with a spouse. So, Chris, there is hope, but wrap us up here and take us out, and let's get over to Harry's episode.
Sounds like a plan. So if you've made it this far, first of all, congratulations. Thank you for listening, and stick around to watch Harry's episode. You're going to learn a lot of valuable information. For those coaches and consultants who are still watching, which if you're hearing my voice, obviously you are, if you realize that getting a free piece of video marketing content, yes, I said free piece of video marketing content from being a guest on Expert Showcase is something that can help add to your visibility, credibility, and authority, then what you want to do is go to expertshowcase.com, click on the big yellow apply button, and send us your information, fill out the form. We'll take a look at it. If we feel you're a good fit to be a guest, we'll invite you on and have you on as a next expert guest on the Expert Showcase. And finally, if you're a coach or consultant and you realize that the power of video, the power of having your own internet talk show, the power of building visibility, credibility, and authority is going to give you the lifestyle you want to live, then what you want to do is head on over to VideoContent.Agency, check out the Services tab, and check out the visibility, credibility, and authority packages that we offer. Choose the one that's right for you. Contact us. Let us make sure we're a good fit to work together, and let us help produce your internet talk show and give you the life you want to live. So without any further ado, I'm going to roll the tape.
Today on Experts Showcase, we go to Singapore with Harry Johal, who is going to talk about selling amongst the best sellers. 3 things you need to know. Harry, welcome to Expert Showcase. We are very happy to have you travel here all the way from Singapore via the airwaves. How are you doing today?
I'm perfectly fine, sir, and it's a pleasure for me, connecting from my end to your end and to appear on such a wonderful show with such a wonderful host, Dr. Mark Kosman.
Well, I appreciate that, Harry. The only problem with traveling this way is that I don't get to rack up any frequent flyer miles. I mean, it's I never seem to leave the same location. Harry, help our audience get oriented here a little bit. So give us a little quick overview of what we're going to cover in today's episode.
Well, basically, sir, as you've seen that, there are lots of authors and brands and, who want to introduce their products to a different market, beyond US, beyond, European markets like in Southeast Asia. So I'm trying to introduce those products into Southeast Asia through my talk shows, Carry on Harry, and probably we are discussing their product, we're discussing the making of the product, and in that way they get a mileage in terms of introducing to a new audience. And as the market expands, they get more chances to introduce and get mileage in terms of returns from their products.
Excellent. So in the title, in the introduction, we said there are 3 things you need to know, so I'm going to just run those down very quickly. So the 3 things we're going to talk about are creating awareness, expanding to a new market, and then fetch a better deal. So let's take those in order, Harry. When you're working with a band or an author and you're saying create awareness, tell me a little bit about that. How do you focus on that? How do you help them do that? What's the goal that they need to take away from that?
Correct, sir. You see, sir, whenever a new product is launched, be it by a bestseller or be it by a new a person who is entering the market, they really need to come to a platform where they can get the audience which is expecting those kind of products. For example, when we talk about the book authors, and when they appear on my talk show Carry on Harry, what happens is that we already have an existing base of fans who want to be introduced to those kind of new books and products. So, for example, let's say there's a book written by Dr. Mark Kosman, and later on Mr. Chris joins. He says that, Harry, I want to introduce my book also. So I already have a fan base of Dr. Mark with me. So once Chris will making an appearance on my talk show, what happens is he get an additional fan base. So this fan base becomes curious to know about this product, what went in making of this product. And so in that way, Chris is going to benefit that he is getting a fan following of Carrie and Harry talk show, of Dr. Mark Kosman, and also his own, market, which is existingly, with him. And so it's like an added advantage. The audience comes to know about the new product, and with this awareness about creation of this product, it really benefits the authors. It really benefits the bands, because they are able to get in connection with new publishers. They are going to meet new event organizers, so they get an opportunity to visit Southeast Asia. They get opportunity to expand even to other markets where my talk shows are available, because it's a global platform where everyone is coming and listening to the shows.
So essentially, you are the vehicle for that expanded awareness, because you've been cultivating an audience with your Carry On Harry show. Your audience expects you to be bringing on guests who have books or products or a show, and they're hungry for new information or a new recommendation from you. So by being on your show, you're helping to give them that exposure to a whole new area, right?
Correct, sir. Yes.
Excellent. And I guess that really segues in and continues the conversation into your second point, which is really about expanding into a new market. So I think you were already beginning to talk about that. So I might have a following locally in my area, and I'm looking to expand to a whole new area. So by connecting with you, you have that Southeast Asian connection that I have no way to reach unless I connect with you. Am I barking up the right tree here?
Absolutely right, sir. In fact, I would like to add up here, just yesterday, I was exploring the local stores, and I found that, one of my recent guests who just was on my show just last week, and I was very pleased to, surprisingly pleased to see that his books, appearing in Singapore stores. So it creates a lot of expansion for the publisher to sell his books to the new market, because once the author comes and discuss about what is uniqueness of his book or his product, so the market expands. So these companies who are having such stores, they really contact the publishers. They really want to bring those books over, not only to Singapore, and maybe this thing is also happening in other countries where these books are getting open to the new markets.
Excellent. And so you're just expanding awareness, you're expanding reach, because otherwise this person would not be able to access that other audience that you're bringing to the table. So that sounds excellent. So your third point, you're calling fetch a better deal. So what are we talking about here? When you're speaking to someone with a product or an author, or you mentioned bands, what do you mean by fetch a better deal?
Fetching a better deal in this way, sir, many of my authors that, once they had appeared on my show, they have, informed me that, we got contacted by a publisher sitting in Hong Kong while their book was initially introduced in US market. So this has happened a couple of times. So in that way, with the entry of the new publishers, they are able to fetch a better deal in terms of expansion. So it's all overloaded. For example, sir, maybe your first book was published by a publisher sitting in Canada, and after listening to the show, this publisher who has heard this show comes to know about your books, the success of your book, the writing of your book. Probably he could offer you a better price for your next upcoming book. So in that way, there's a better option for a publisher, for a writer, to get a new publisher who can offer a better price. So in that way, I say that is fetching a better price.
I see. Yeah, no, I understand completely. So not only is someone reaching an audience of potential customers, let's say, but they're also reaching an expanded network of people who could facilitate their next product or their next book or their next recording deal, depending on the kind of person you're working with. Is that right?
Correct, sir. You're absolutely right.
So you've mentioned a couple of times authors and bands. Tell me just a little bit more about your audience. I mean, and about the kind of guests that you're frequently bringing on. Who do you like to connect with on the show?
Well, sir, basically, I have not restricted myself to any specific, category of guests. It could be anybody who has got something of a good message to deliver. It could be, somebody who is a motivational speaker. It could be somebody who is into, some yoga, and he can benefit my audience by giving them some tips about health, of mind, body, soul. It could be somebody who has written, like we spoke about the books, and somebody who is launching a new audio CD, who is launching a new band, or let's say somebody want to put up a show in Singapore and far and beyond. So they give like a pre-introduction on my show, that what sort of music they have been creating, what is the history behind this band, and what are the interesting elements about what were the ups, downs. So when we talk about the ups and downs, people who are newcomers who also want to be somebody specialized in that kind of iconic personality that who we are bringing on the show. So we have got to learn a lot of things from them. It's not just about selling something. I don't really believe in introducing my guest at that he is selling something on my show. Basically, the personality part is something which influences the audience, and the audience feels motivated that they are going to learn something new from this talk show. Plus, they are also going to be introduced to something which is worthwhile reading or listening to through this talk show. So it's more towards getting a benefit for the listener's point of view, rather than just from somebody who has appeared on the show and wants to get in connection with a new fan base. So a fan should feel fully motivated about this thing.
So your audience obviously has very broad interest and very broad appetite. They're just interested in a broad spectrum of things that are going to be entertaining, engaging, increasing their knowledge, increasing their understanding, increasing their health. So it's not specific to only one particular category. You have sort of a broad spectrum.
Correct, sir. And that's what I try to bring. Like, for example, let's say I've been introducing the authors, but lot of authors bring forth a problem that that their books was rejected by 10, 15, 20 publishers. So what is the reason behind this? So I invite the publishers also on my show in order to make it clear to the new writers, so that they can learn that what are the basic things due to which the books gets rejected. So what are the things that a writer should keep in mind before he is introducing his book to the publisher to consider it for publishing. So that way everybody learns from it, be it an expert or be it somebody who is new. So everyone is gaining something from the show.
I love it, Harry. You're really using a talk show, a radio talk show, as a connector for all of these different parts of the audience, and they create synergies, between the guest and the audience, and vice versa. So it's fabulous. How long have you been doing this?
Well, Kevin Harry Talk Show I introduced in Singapore in about 3 years, but before that I had been doing basically touching the Asian segment for about 10 years.
Excellent. All right. So it sounds like really, in terms of guests that should consider themselves potential candidates to appear on your show, it really is a broad range. It's it's music, it's art, it's health, it's all kinds of things. So you're looking for a broad spectrum of guests to be interviewed on your show. It sounds like.
Yes, sir. In fact, some of the talk show hosts have also appeared on my show. There's a talk show host who came from Canada also, and in fact, I already want Dr. Mark Kosman also to be coming on the show, and so that we feel so proud about it, because after all, if you are introducing me to your market, there's something about your personality which audience will be wanting to know, that who is Dr. Mark Kosman and what is so specialized about him, what are the plus and minus about experiences that he has seen, like what we can learn from you. And probably it will be benefiting you, because my audience would also like to know about your guests, and at the same time my guests would also love to know more about making an appearance on a show like your one, sir.
Excellent. Well, and you've already had Chris Sprague, who will be joining us in the behind the episode segment shortly. So he has already preceded the way, and so we wouldn't be here if you guys had not already connected. So it's you're continuing your work as a connector. Well, Harry, I'm going to wrap us up at this point. This has been a lot of fun. I don't often get to connect with people in Singapore, but let me just review just for the audience's sake, and then tell people how to get in touch with you if they'd like to consider being a guest on your show. So we've been talking with Harry Johal all the way in Singapore. I didn't even have to get on an airplane. This is the wonders of technology. We've been talking about selling amongst the bestseller, 3 things you need to know. And what are those 3 things? Just to recap, we talked about creating awareness, expanding your reach into a new market, and then also getting a better deal by connecting with parts of the audience that might facilitate your business. And all of that can be achieved by tapping into Harry's offer to consider being a guest on the show. So Harry, let me tell people how to get in touch with you. The show is called Carry On Harry Talk Show, and you can visit the carryonharry.com website, and you can also write to Harry. It's very tricky. It's Harry Johal at carryonharry.com. So Harry, it sounds like it's pretty easy for people to reach out and connect to you. If they do, what's the process for them being considered to be on the show?
Well, they have to just send me the work profile, what they are doing, and what work they want to discuss on the show. And probably if some interesting facts are there that they want to highlight about their book or about anything they are specialized in, like mind body training, something like connected to health, just introduce your entire thing to me, and probably I will look into the depths, what maximum we can derive from the person's personality, from the product itself. So it's like that.
Excellent. So if you're looking to create more awareness, if you want to consider expanding into a new market, if you're looking to potentially fetch a better deal, you want to get connected with Harry at the Carry On Harry Talk Show. Harry, it has been wonderful having you on Expert Showcase today as our expert guest. Appreciate you taking the time to join us, and look forward to continuing the relationship and talking with you, and maybe even being on your show.
Thank you, sir.
And another great Expert Showcase episode. Chris, what should people do right now?
Yeah, if you're watching this and you're a coach or consultant, imagine what it would do for you and your business if you were a guest on Experts Showcase. And here's the best part. Other than possibly increasing your business, an appearance on Expert Showcase is free. We give you a copy of your episode so you can use as marketing collateral, and we give you a coaching session to go along with it to tell you how you can best market your episode and other tips and tricks about your business. So what you want to do is head on over to expertshowcase.com, click on the big yellow apply button, and apply to be our next featured guest on the Expert Showcase. Now, if you're a coach or consultant and you've already imagined what having your own internet talk show will do for you, then we want you to head to VideoContent.Agency and check us out, check our packages out, and get in contact with us. Let's see if we're a good fit, and let's see if we're the ones to produce you and make you the next star and have your own internet talk show. And until next time, Mark, anything else?
I couldn't have said it any better, so just do what he said.